Every boat that floats takes on some amount of water eventually, through hull fittings, rain, spray, or small seeps that are completely normal and expected. What determines whether that water stays a non-issue or becomes a real problem is one small component most boat owners never think about until it fails: the switch that tells the bilge pump when to turn on. There's a failure mode hiding inside that switch that's completely invisible from outside the boat. The pump can be perfectly functional, wired correctly, and still never turn on when it matters most. We'll get into exactly why in a few minutes, because it's the single most common reason boats with a working bilge pump still end up with serious water damage. I put these together so people don't have to dig through this stuff themselves. If that's worth something to you, subscribing to the Independence Files is what makes doing this sustainable. A bilge pump without a reliable automatic trigger is only as useful as someone remembering to manually check and run it, which works fine while a boat is actively used and watched, and fails completely the moment it's left unattended at a dock, on a trailer, or during any stretch of days between trips. Water intrusion doesn't pause for convenience. It keeps accumulating whether or not anyone's around to notice. The financial stakes here scale from mildly annoying to genuinely severe. A small amount of standing bilge water left unnoticed can lead to corrosion, mildew, and electrical problems over time. Left unchecked entirely, through a rainstorm, a slow seep, or a failed through-hull fitting, that same water can rise high enough to affect buoyancy, damage onboard electronics, or in serious cases, contribute to a boat taking on enough water to partially or fully sink at the dock. Insurance claims tied to sinking or serious water damage at a dock or mooring routinely run into many thousands of dollars once electronics, upholstery, and structural repairs are all accounted for, a scale of loss that makes a $12 component look almost absurdly small by comparison, yet it's precisely the kind of small, unglamorous part that determines which outcome actually happens. Here's what almost no boat owner realizes about their own bilge pump setup: the pump itself is rarely what fails. Most bilge pumps are simple, durable, and reliable for years. What actually fails, far more often, is the float switch, the small mechanical or electronic sensor that's supposed to detect rising water and tell the pump to turn on automatically. A pump with a stuck, corroded, or improperly positioned float switch can sit there, fully functional, never activating, while water quietly rises around it. So here's the real question worth asking. If the pump itself almost never fails, but the trigger deciding whether it turns on absolutely can, silently, with zero indication from outside the boat, how would anyone actually know their automatic bilge system had stopped being automatic at all? Think of it like a smoke detector with a dead battery. The smoke detector itself is perfectly good hardware, mounted correctly, wired correctly, but without a working trigger mechanism, it's just a decoration on the ceiling, providing zero actual protection despite looking completely normal. A bilge pump with a failed float switch is exactly that: functioning hardware rendered useless by one small failed component nobody thinks to check. Mechanically, a standard float switch works through simple buoyancy. A small float rises with water level inside the bilge, and once it reaches a set height, it trips an internal switch that completes the electrical circuit powering the pump. It's a purely mechanical trigger at its core, no different in principle from the float in a toilet tank, just wired to a pump instead of a water valve. Corrosion on the switch contacts, debris jamming the float's movement, or the switch simply mounting too high to catch a slow-rising leak are the most common ways this simple mechanism quietly stops doing its job. This isn't a new or obscure engineering challenge. Ships and commercial vessels have used automatic bilge monitoring and pumping systems for well over a century, specifically because unmonitored water intrusion has been a leading cause of vessel loss for as long as vessels have existed. The float switch principle used in a small recreational boat today is a direct, simplified descendant of bilge alarm systems that commercial and naval vessels relied on generations before affordable electronics made it standard equipment on smaller boats. Maritime insurance and vessel safety records from throughout the 20th century consistently list undetected flooding as one of the most common preventable causes of loss for vessels of every size. Not dramatic hull breaches in most cases, but slow, unnoticed water intrusion that simply outpaced whatever monitoring or lack of monitoring was in place at the time. What's changed for recreational boats isn't the underlying mechanism. It's that a component this critical got miniaturized and commoditized down to a small, inexpensive part, cheap enough that it's easy to treat as an afterthought rather than the safety-critical component it actually is. Manufacturers of float switches publish activation height and current rating specifications, direct, testable numbers describing exactly what water level triggers the switch and what pump load it can safely handle. That's standard engineering documentation, the same category of spec sheet used for any electromechanical safety component. Boat owners in maintenance and safety-focused communities who've experienced a bilge pump failure report an overwhelmingly consistent finding once they investigate. The pump itself tested fine afterward, while the float switch was corroded, jammed, or mounted in a position that let water rise well past where it should have triggered. That pattern shows up again and again across completely unrelated boats and unrelated owners. 3 separate threads pointing the same direction. Over a century of commercial vessel precedent, treating bilge monitoring as safety critical, direct manufacturer specifications for how these switches are supposed to perform, and a consistent real-world pattern among owners who've traced an actual failure back to its source. That's convergent evidence, not a single anecdotal warning. It's worth being precise about what varies here. Not every float switch failure follows the identical path. Some fail from corrosion, some from debris, some from simply being mounted at the wrong height for a given bilge's shape. What's consistent across all of them is that the failure is completely invisible until water has already risen far enough to matter. So if this failure mode is this well understood, why isn't checking a float switch treated with the same seriousness as checking a fire extinguisher's charge? It comes down to visibility and habit, much like a lot of these overlooked mechanical failures. A fire extinguisher has a visible gauge anyone can glance at. A float switch sits submerged in a dark, cramped bilge compartment, out of sight and out of mind, with no visible indicator of its condition at all unless someone physically tests it. There's a simpler gap underneath that, too. Boat dealers and pump manufacturers sell the pump, the part with a recognizable brand and a visible specification sheet. The float switch is often a smaller, separate, less discussed component bundled in almost as an afterthought, even though it's the part that actually determines whether the pump ever does its job unattended. As for what this actually involves, a basic replacement float switch, rated for standard 12-volt bilge pump current, typically costs around $12. It wires directly into the existing connection between the battery and bilge pump, mounted at a height appropriate for the specific bilge's shape, positioned low enough to catch water early, but high enough to avoid triggering on ordinary, harmless splash or condensation. The mechanism mirrors the same buoyancy-triggered principle vessels have used for a century. As water rises, the float lifts, the internal contacts close, and the pump activates automatically, with no manual action required from anyone aboard or nearby. Testing this periodically, lifting the float by hand to confirm the pump engages, is the simplest way to catch a switch that's already failed before an actual leak puts it to the real test. There are honest limitations worth being upfront about. This doesn't stop water from entering the boat in the first place. It only ensures water that does get in actually gets pumped out automatically, rather than silently accumulating. A serious hull breach can still overwhelm any bilge pump's capacity, regardless of how well the switch works. Multiple bilge compartments on larger boats sometimes need their own dedicated float switch and pump, rather than relying on a single system to cover the entire vessel. A switch positioned in one compartment does nothing to detect or address water accumulating in a separate, unconnected space elsewhere in the hull. Battery condition matters too. A float switch working perfectly is useless if the boat's battery is too depleted to power the pump when it's needed, which is a separate failure mode entirely worth checking alongside this one. And float switches, like any mechanical component sitting in a wet environment, do eventually wear out. This isn't a permanent, install once, forget forever fix. It's a component that benefits from periodic testing. Bilge shape and debris also affect reliability over time. A float switch mounted in a bilge that regularly collects leaves, dirt, or debris can become physically obstructed, preventing the float from moving freely even when it's otherwise in good working condition. A quick visual check for debris around the switch is worth doing alongside any electrical test. This isn't a substitute for regular hull and through-hull fitting inspection, and it's not being presented as one. It solves exactly one problem, making sure water that gets into the bilge actually gets pumped back out automatically. Nothing more and nothing less. Which loops back to where this started. The same invisible failure principle applies just as directly to a boat's shore power connection or battery charger, components that can silently stop working between visits with no obvious sign until something else fails as a result. A boat left unattended is only as safe as its weakest invisible component, and a float switch sitting quietly in the dark is exactly the kind of thing that's easy to trust completely and never actually check. If you've had a bilge pump fail on you before, or you're not sure when your own float switch was last tested, drop it in the comments below. I read all of them, and I'll do my best to help you figure it out.